These two brothers killed their dad with a baseball bat, and this case is truly awful. On November 26, 2001, firefighters in Florida were called to a house that was on fire. The firefighters got the situation under control, and once inside the house, they made a disturbing discovery. The owner of the home was a man named Terry King, and they found him sitting with his arms crossed in his recliner chair, with his feet up resting, and blood all over his face and the walls. At first, those at the scene believed the heat of the fire had caused Terry's head to crack like an egg. But as they looked closer, they realized Terry's head had been caved in with a blunt instrument. And sadly, Terry was just 40 years old at the time of his death. In 1985, Terry met a woman named Janet French, and they had kids together. Their names was Alex and Derek, and while she was living with Terry, she became pregnant with twins from another man. Janet then left Terry in 1993 when the boys were just 5 and 6 years old. She thought the two boys were a burden in her life and moved away with her twins to Kentucky and changed her name, leaving behind Alex and Derek with their father. Terry was unable to financially provide for the boys, and shortly after the breakup, Alex and Derek were put in a Christian home for children and then given up for adoption. Alex was very distressed after being separated from his father, so he was returned to Terry the following year. Derek, however, stayed with his foster parents until 2001, and as he grew older, he grew more rebellious. He started to become obsessed with fires and things that can cause a fire, so he was sent back to live with Terry. At this point, Alex was 19 and Derek was 13. While the two boys were back with their father, they became acquainted with one of their father's friends, a 41-year-old man named Ricky Chavez, and Ricky had a dark past, a past that Terry had no idea about. In 1983, he was convicted with having an inappropriate relationship with two boys aged 13. The brothers would spend quite a lot of time at Ricky's home and would play video games and smoke in a hidden room. Terry then noticed a change in the boys' behavior, specifically in Alex. Alex started calling Terry by his first name instead of calling him Dad. And because of this, Terry told the boys they can no longer spend any time with Ricky. On the 16th of November 2001, Derek and Alex had taken a backpack, grabbed some things they needed, and left their father's home. Terry then came home and found the boys missing and drove around the area looking for them and called the police. Terry believed Alex and Derek went to Ricky's house, but Ricky said he had no idea where the boys were. A week later, Derek was found 18 miles away at his girlfriend's house. Derek said him and Alex had spent several days in the woods, and Alex was still out there. But this wasn't true. They had indeed been hiding at Ricky's house. On November 25th, one day before the fire, Ricky brought Alex back to his father. Both of the boys were now home, and the next day, November 26th, Terry would be found dead and he was obviously murdered, and the two boys were nowhere to be seen. The police spent the day trying to locate the brothers, but they had no luck at all. One day later, on the 27th, a car pulled up outside the police station, and inside the car was Ricky, Derek, and Alex. The brothers wanted to turn themselves in and told the police the first version of events. The boys told the officers that they feared their father would hurt them for running away, so they came up with a plan to get rid of him before he could. Alex then made a statement to an investigator in which he said, "One of us said, why don't we just kill him? So we looked for a hammer, but we couldn't find one. So Derek pulled out a bat. I think that's what he used. I thought about it, and I thought it would be a better choice to just kill him." Alex then explained that Derek stood over his father as he slept in his chair, with the bat in his hand while Alex stood to the side and watched. Alex then said he hits him with the bat for the first time. It sounded like wood cracking or hitting concrete or something. Blood starts coming out and he keeps hitting him with it. He smashes his face in and I'm just standing there watching. It was obvious he was dead because a little bit of his brains were on the walls. Derek said he was afraid his father would open his eyes again. He was worried about this because as he was hitting him, he was making a gargling sound. To stop him from making this sound, he continued to brutally smash his head in. After the brothers were sure their dad was dead, they set his bed on fire in the other room, hoping the flames would destroy the house and evidence linking them to the murder. The boys then called Ricky, who brought them back to his house for the night. The following day, he brought them to the police station to turn themselves in. Ricky was initially arrested and charged with being an accessory to the murder, as he did hide the brothers and wash their clothing, removing their father's blood. It was then proved from Alex's notebook that Ricky groomed him, and Alex even claimed he was in a relationship with Ricky. On September 6, 2002, Ricky was found not guilty of the murder. The two boys were tried as adults and faced 22 years to life in prison. But in the end, Derek was sentenced to 8 years and Alex was sentenced to 7 years. And even though Ricky wasn't charged with the murder, he was still facing charges for having a relationship with a minor. Although Ricky was found innocent of this on the grounds that there wasn't enough evidence to convict him. However, he was found guilty of being an accessory to murder for hiding the boys and received the maximum sentence of 35 years in prison. This case is extremely gut-turning and unsettling, and I would have way more details in this video, but I didn't want the video to be longer than it already is. May Terry King rest in peace. He did not deserve this at all, and I don't know why two sons would do this to their father.